My work is about the idea of Google search and pop culture having the ability to answer life questions. I was born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana. Collage, which was something that I began doing sophomore year, which was about 2 years ago, and the imagery was largely textural. It was, I studied in Glasgow for 1 semester, which was very good for my work. It forced me to kind of get a lot of the abstract elements out of my system into something that I kind of liked more. I was finally becoming more engaged with what I wanted to say in my work. Spent last summer working in the library, and most of my time was spent sitting at a computer because hardly anyone would come in, and was Googling a lot of things out of sheer boredom. I would come up with some very interesting searches. The image search is just, it's kind of an interesting way of finding an image that can represent something that really can't be represented fully, and that's where the idea came to search for an abstract idea such as happiness and greed. I wanted to do more with this imagery that was kind of a simplified version of something that's very complex. It relates to how advertisements use images from, say, like stock photo websites, which is also something I'm very interested in. I've been going to Shutterstock.com a lot. That's what began the artist series, where I drew directly from images found on this website that are kind of a portrayal of what artists are supposed to look like, or what pop culture sees artists as being. They're messy, they have their paint brushes, they're happy, they're expressive, they're sad, they're emotional. But some of it is more kind of assumed and a little humorous, the way that pop culture interprets real culture. I guess that's a simplified version, as I am interested in how mass media and pop culture, movies, advertisements, portray kind of what it means to be a person, what it means to be a human. Each element in the still life is taken from a Google image search. To begin with, I would think up a theme, such as "You're special," or just some kind of an iconic kind of still life scene, such as mortality, or kind of like a scene out of a window, or an image of someone in the still life or in the painting that is not necessarily the subject. I think that was the Arnolfini wedding. It was the artist was in the portrait somewhere, but anyway, just these interesting elements that I take from history, from art history, kind of try to translate them into a humorous way, trying to interpret them. Because those are so iconic in the history of art, specifically Dutch still life painting. Interpret these kind of iconic images into my own translation of what pop culture thinks of them. The still life, the "You Are Special" still life was, I'd say, my most successful one. It's, to put it simply, or to put it in the kind of a pop culture language, it's a place where you sit and you look at a pleasing image and you are pleased, and you eat a pleasing food and you are special. The framed images were kind of an experiment of me using images out of context, which is something I'm also very interested in. The words were from either movies or just pop language that I had come across, such as like "I'll have what she's having." That's from Harry Met Sally. When Harry Met Sally, and I think one of them was "I'll make him an offer he can't refuse," which I think was from The Sopranos. Just or "For someone special," which you find on greeting cards, which are also great inspirations for me. Greeting cards, because they are just the epitome of a simplified emotion, simplified sentimentality that I find so intriguing. Other inspirations are Corey Archangel, who kind of takes he takes popular culture and kind of translates it into something else. Takashi Murata makes still lives that are just kind of ominous, and they're kind of Takashi Murata with his Takashi Murata's still lives I find very interesting. I'm also inspired by the everyday. Anything I find, while walking around in New York is inspiring. Sky Mall is inspiring. At the dollar store, there is a section where they have placemats with images of still lives that actually kind of got me. The still lives on those placemats got me to start making my own Photoshop still lives. I wanted them to be kind of in the same manner, where it's like someone is trying to make a believable still life, but is not so successful in the making, and the angles, perspectives are wonky, the shadow doesn't match up, the lighting isn't right, but I just find these so interesting to me, because they're kind of an representation of what pop culture is. I guess I'll just talk about growing up. I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. From a young age, my mom's an artist. My dad has always been interested in making things, creating things. He and my mom would always color with me and draw with me, encourage me to draw. I was always at art camps. There wasn't a specific moment where I knew I wanted to become an artist. It was just something that was always kind of ingrained in me. My whole childhood was kind of centered around art. I lived in a culturally rich city. I was in, the special art classes in middle school. I was, I went to the half-day art school throughout high school, which strongly encouraged going to art school. They helped with scholarships. They had recruiters come from different art schools, and eventually I ended up coming to Pratt, and it just kind of happened like that. It was a very natural process for me. Thank you. Ugh.